Hey guys, welcome to this weekend with Gino. What a week it's been in wrestling. And due to the fact we now have a deal in place for talent exchange with Impact TNA Wrestling, whatever you want to call it, and WWE, I figured I'm gonna kick off this video cast breaking down Genesis that's happening this Sunday. The Impact pay-per-view that's coming up. Couple interesting matches. I've sort of been following Impact since it's been airing in Canada, but it's only been 2 weeks, so I'm not 100% behind every story. One match I'm really intrigued, and obviously the whole world is, so that's the wrestling fans. And can I ask you guys a question? Sorry, I got distracted for a second. Why does everyone hate Tessa Blanchard so much, but they love Hulk Hogan for pretty much being the same exact person? But the facts between Hulk Hogan have actually been proven, and we'll talk more about Hulk Hogan later, and nothing's ever been proven about Tessa. Sorry guys, I'm trying to get this camera better. Um, but yeah, that's the match. Is this going to be Jordan Grace's last match in Impact Wrestling? Does Tessa win her first match back? Do we not have a winner and to keep this feud going? What's up to TNA? But I don't know what they're gonna do. Um, yeah, we'll see. But we'll talk about that match when we get to it. But this is a match I'm kind of interested in because I've been a big fan of this one dude for a long time, Frankie Kazarian, who's going around pretty much pretending to be like an Elvis impersonator at this point. He's calling himself the King. He's got a sort of trophy where he can get a title shot of any kind at any point he wants. And he's fighting a guy that he's trying to mentor named Leon Starr from England. I saw Leon Starr wrestle this weekend. Ooh, excuse me, guys. Leon Starr seems like he's going to be a very good talent. He's young, he's high flying, he's athletic as hell. But Frankie Kazarian's like one of the OGs of the high flying. Frankie Kazarian's one of the OGs of the X Division wrestling. Is Frankie Kazarian going to do the old school thing and let the young guy go over? Is he going to be that old school wrestler who decides he can't let somebody take his spot yet and win? I think Frankie's going to do the right thing. I think he's gonna let this kid beat him, or you think he's gonna beat this kid, but they're gonna keep the story going, and he's gonna mentor him, and that trophy he has is gonna become a title shot for them. Sorry, guys, it's been a long week, and I think they're gonna become the tag team champions at Impact at some point. I believe it is the Hardys as of right now who have the belts, but they're gonna be wrestling the Rascals this weekend. That's gonna be a fun match. Don't sleep on that match. Well, that's the only match on the kickoff show for their pay per view, and we're gonna kick it off with a bang. We got Ace Austin, very, very, very good wrestler. Going against Moose. Moose for the X Division Championship. Yes, I know. It's kind of funny, right? Moose is probably about 100, 150 pounds heavier than Ace Austin. And it's a division that's usually always been about smaller dudes, but Moose has the title now. Sorry, guys. Like I said, it's been a long week. Um, it's kind of funny. I don't know which way Impact's gonna go with this. I believe that the group they had called the system has no more belts anymore. And Ace Austin said he's doing this off of Chris Bay. Thoughts and praise to Chris Bay. For those of you who don't know, he suffered a horrific neck injury a while ago, and he's still unable to, I believe, even move at this moment, or even like get. We don't know if he'll ever return to the ring. It's kind of like a Big E thing going on there. These aren't storylines. This is legitimate. He actually is hurt. Um, I'm hesitating because I don't know which way Impact's gonna go with this. Do they keep the title on Moose for a bit longer and have Ace Austin chase for a bit, or does Ace Austin win the title and they do a celebratory thing and they bring out Chris Bay? Ah, shit. It's been a pretty good story the way they built up to it. Um, the majority of this Moose loses. The majority of this match is gonna be Moose kicking Ace Austin's ass. And if that's the way it's gonna play out, Ace Austin's gonna win. I don't know how they're gonna do this match. I don't know if they can have either guy lose, but I think it's okay if Moose takes a loss over Ace Austin. I know you guys look at me like this guy's struggling and agonizing over predetermined things, but the thing is, there's stories to wrestling. At least most companies, and this is not a shot at AEW, but AEW. Oh, most companies outside of AEW understand their stories to wrestling. And this is an intriguing story because I'm still unsure who's going to win this match. Either way, it works. Either guy can take the win. Either guy can take the loss. I think Moose can take the loss more than Chris Bay can. That's right, Ace Austin. The only way I can see Chris Bay or Ace Austin losing this match is if they somehow play into a Chris Bay thing and they have Chris Bay on his mind and all this and that. But I think I'm going to go with my gut on this. If I'm booking this for TNA Impact, I think you go with the feel good story and you have Ace Austin win this match. And you bring out Chris Bay and they celebrate. And yeah, that'd be a pretty cool way to kick off your pay per view, wouldn't it? Following that, we have the Impact Women's Tag Team Championship match. Spitfire, Jody Threat, and Danny Luna, former WWE prospect when she was part of NXT UK, let go with a whole bunch of other people, kind of like Millie McKenzie. Also, I want to give a quick shout out to a favorite wrestler of mine over in Europe, who a lot of people don't know who she is, but I've been following this girl for a long time and recently retired. And good on her because she said she just couldn't do it anymore without hurting herself or other opponents. And this is a girl who's been so very, very good for a long time over in England. And I'm not just giving her the respect and the flowers because she's Italian, but she's very good. And she's a former NXT prospect, and WWE just, I don't think, ever used her properly or knew how to use her. That being Laura De Matteo. And if you guys haven't checked her out, go on YouTube and just type in her name or go to any of those big wrestling promotions in England out there, video stores, and just type in Laura Di Matteo and just watch her series of matches with Kenji. Kenji's another girl who's going to be on the rise soon. So I want to say, me personally, as a wrestling fan, thank you to Laura Di Matteo. You are awesome, and you will be missed. But like I was saying, Danny Luna was unfortunately one of those people who was cut by WWE with their NXT and their NXT UK gig broke up due to Vince McMahon not knowing what the hell he had there. She's collapsed on England and then eventually back into Impact Wrestling. She's now part of a team called Spitfire of Jody Threat. They are facing former Dana Brooke and who is now Ash by Elegance. Probably still one of the stupidest names I've ever heard in the history of wrestling. That and Vex Crow. For those of you who don't know, Vex Crow is Alicia Fox, who was actually here in Vancouver last weekend. And that's Ash by Elegance and Heather by Elegance, aka formerly known as Heather Reckless. Heather Reckless is a very good wrestler from the independents. Dana Brooke isn't good and never will be good, and just good character. In ring, absolute garbage. I'm not. I wouldn't be shocked if the Elegance people win. But if I'm Impact Wrestling right now, personally, I keep the belts on Spitfire. They're over as hell. They're popular. They're very fun to watch. I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything, but I don't, as a wrestling fan, I don't think Dana Brooke should be anywhere near titles. She's not that caliber wrestler for at least major companies to have a belt, if that makes sense. I mean, she was in WWE for what, 12 years and never even got close to a title because they knew she was not of the caliber of a champion. She can't put on championship matches. Maybe if she's in a tag team, she'd be carried in a match with championships, but I don't see the I don't. I'm not trying to be a jerk or a hater or anything here for people who actually like Dana Brooke, aka Ash Balagence, but I just don't see any talent of a champion in her, to be honest. And Spitfire is very, very good. All right. Following that, we got Josh Alexander and Mike Santana, contender for match of the year to start off 2025. I don't know which way this is going to go. It's a night quit match. Josh Alexander is more of a technically good wrestler. Mike Santana is the brawler with all the heart. Josh Alexander has the Northern Armory behind him, which are two local boys from here from Vancouver, Judas Icarus and Travis Williams, both trained by Nicole Matthews. Shout out Nicole Matthews. Another girl who never, ever, ever got the respect she deserved, but she did a good job creating these two dudes. I say shout out Nicole Matthews. I've been a fan of her for a very long time. I actually got to see her wrestle once when I was in high school, and she was wrestling in my gym a couple years younger than I was. Um, but back to the match. If this indeed is Josh Alexander's last match, like I've been hearing from a few people that he's not re-signed with Impact Wrestling, and well, Impact and TNA are not, or Impact and WWE are not together. Maybe he loses this match and somehow pops up on NXT and helps All Ego Ethan Page, and they reunite the North. That'd be interesting. If this is his last match, he's going out. We know if he loses, I think I just don't see a way. Even if this isn't Josh Alexander's last match, that this Mike Santana doesn't lose. Mike Santana needs to win this match. It's going to be a very, very good match. These are two very good wrestlers. Josh Alexander is a guy who a lot of people have slept on. He pretty much carried Impact when most people completely forgot about Impact Wrestling. Just go back and watch any match this dude's had with either Hammerstone or Brian Cage or uh, the Death Machine, Sammy Callahan or Moose or any of those guys. He is just very, 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 very good. All right, guys. This is the most interesting match of 2025, and I guess in a lot of ways, for a lot of people, controversial. Because the first time in 4 years, I'd say, yeah, 4 years, because she stepped away for a little while because she was getting shit on by everyone in wrestling. I never decided to choose sides because I'm not going to be biased. I'm a Tessa Blanchard fan. I think this girl is probably one of the most talented, not women, not men, but professional wrestlers I've ever seen in my life. She's as good as her dad and her stepdad. If those of you that don't know who their dad and stepdad are, it's Telly Blanchard and Magnum TA. As far as I'm concerned, she's both of them rolled into one. This girl is just so, 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 so good. And she just like, there's certain different stories you hear about her. Nothing's truly ever been proven. And if it has, guess what? She's not the only person in wrestling, but somehow people just shit on her and let others escape. And we're going to talk about others later on when I get more into the show. But it's an interesting match solely for the fact who they have her against. And the fact that she's back at a company that, yes, what she did, I agree, is bullshit the way she just left and fucked off with their belt and didn't even bother signing a contract or offering to drop their belt. She just fucked off to Mexico when the pandemic hit. So that part's not cool. But the fact that all these people are just dumping on her and there's no actual proof. Like people like Chelsea Green and them are tweeting out about what happened, that's their side of the story. We don't have the entire side. We haven't heard Tessa yet. It's the first time she's spoken was a couple days ago. If you haven't seen that show, check it out. She's not claiming complete innocence, but also there's things that we haven't heard, right? Like they say, guilty, innocent to proven guilty to proven innocent. We'll see what the truth actually leads to, right? This is another one of these matches. I'm pretty sure I know how it's going to play out. And it's another match I think has contended to be match of the year because it's dealing with the match right before it. This could possibly be the match of the year a month into the year, as could Josh Alexander and Mike Santana, as I was saying. It's crazy that TNA is putting on two back-to-back bangers, one after the other, in this pay-per-view, because these four people are just so absolutely talented. If the rumors are true, this is also probably the last match for Jordan Grace in Impact Wrestling. Toddy's upset about that. You saw her, they're just kind of shocked. She's like, Daddy, no, this can't be Jordan Grace's last match in NXT. I mean, Impact. Don't worry, she's going to NXT probably. Jordan Grace will be the Rumble. I will call that. And I think Tessa will be too. Um, I'm stalling for an answer because I don't know how Impact wants to do this. I think Tessa's going to win. I can see a way Jordan wins, and that's if Jordan actually stays. But I think they're going to focus on Tessa reclaiming everything that was hers once she left. And Kuhn going after Masha in the belt after she beats Jordan. Because in my personal opinion, there's not many people in wrestling, man or woman again, better than a heel Tessa Blanchard. A heel Tessa Blanchard reminds me of a heel Tully Blanchard. And those of you that are my age, remember how good a heel Tully Blanchard was. Just go back and watch his feud with Dusty Rhodes or Magnum TA. That's all I'm going to say. Um, I guess I've made my decision. Awesome match, probably going to be one of the two top contenders for match of the year. You will hear two of these matches on my list again near the end of 2025 because I'm almost positive these two matches are not going to not fail. But yeah, I think Tessa wins. I think it's Jordan Grace's last match at Impact, and Jordan, just like Josh Alexander's done so much to make Impact relevant again. Love her or hate her, and love or hate what she's done to herself, because Jordan Grace, like, people are okay with Tessa being a race, not okay with Tessa being a racist, but they're okay with Jordan loading herself with, I guess, what people can call cheating tactics by the roids she's done. If you're telling me she's not on roids, you're a liar. She looks like a female Brian Cage, and she's got a deep voice like a man would now. So she's clearly transitioning, due to steroids alone, not like transgendered, but due to the fact that she's done so many roids, the testosterone's given her a deeper of a voice. But we will be seeing Jordan Grace in NXT. They've already teased it a few times. She's been on a few shows. She will be at the Royal Rumble. I can tell you that already. There's not a shadow of doubt in my mind. That won't be a surprise. Nobody will be surprised. It'll be the second year in a row she's in the Royal Rumble. First year was a surprise. This year will not. But this, I have a feeling, will be Jordan Grace's last match in Impact Wrestling. As an Impact wrestler, at least. Following that, we had the men's tag team championships. We have the Hardys versus the Rascals. I don't know. Matt Hardy's teasing a return to the WWE for the Hardys one last run. Hell, I'm for it. The Hardys are legends. They may not be anywhere near what they used to be. I mean, look what those fucking guys have done to their bodies. I mean, Matt Hardy has double back fusion surgery. He can barely move. His hips are fucked. Jeff has completely destroyed his mind for this business. He's almost died several times. I mean, unfortunately, for a sad reason, one of the things that Jeff is remembered for will never be able to be forgotten. That's when he was just too fucked out of his skull to even compete in a match with Sting. But Jeff's also given us a lot of crazy, memorable moments, like that spear that Edge laid on him on the ladder match they had almost 2 decades ago. No matter what people want to say about the Hardys, are icons. They're legends. They revolutionized the sport. They made a certain kind of style of wrestling cool. I mean, hell, they had Lita come out in thongs, and that's it. And girls started wearing that because Lita was cool. But the Rascals are this generation's Hardys. And I think if anyone's old school wrestling the fact where they'll do the honors, I think it's the Hardys. And I think if they're truly actually interested in that last run in WWE, the Hardys are going to do the old school thing and they're going to drop the belts to the Rascals. And I think they're just going to go back to WWE and enhance some more tag teams, maybe in SmackDown, Raw, or NXT. But you can tell those guys are very humble of the business and they don't mind doing jobs for up and coming talents where some of these old veterans do. I mean, there's nothing at all left for the Hardys to prove in professional wrestling. They've done everything, they've given us everything, they've given us just pretty much given us his body. Matt has too, and Matt's a genius. And I can see that dude being a producer and helping people with matches back when it's over. But I think we're about to see the end of the year road for the Hardys. They've been doing this for God, how old am I? Probably close to 30 years. I remember watching the Hardys when I was like 10. Sorry guys, just aged myself a little bit there if you can do the math. But yeah, the Hardys win. This is probably one of the easiest, most predictable matches on the card. I love Rosemary, aka fuck, I can't remember her old name now. She's been Rosemary for so long, I can't remember her. Courtney Rush, old another Canadian wrestler, veteran Canadian wrestler. This will be a good match. It's not going to be on the level of most of the matches on this card. Masha Slamovich is an absolute killer. This is an interesting match. It's a hard, guess you could say, kind of hardcore style. It's a Orange House of Death match is what they're calling it. House of Fun. So it's a hardcore death match style thing. There's been a lot of these in Impact. They're all memorable. These are two extremely talented women. It's just I think Masha's only second or third title defense. If anyone's taking the belt from Masha, it's gonna be It's gonna be Tessa. This is probably one of the more predictable, easier matches to call on the card. Masha's gonna win, and I think if Tessa gets through with Jordan, she's going to attack Masha after the match. That's my personal prediction. And then an interesting one. Oh, sorry. One more before the interesting one. We got the system of Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers, aka Kurt Hawkins from WWE, versus Eric Young and Steve Macklin, the more talented version of him and Deanna Perrazzo is Macklin. Macklin's a former Impact Wrestling champion, as is Eddie Edwards, as is Eric Young, and Brian Myers is a good wrestler. He's the best friend of the Indie King, Matt Cardona. Can I ask you guys a question? Who else is gonna lose their mind when they hear on the radio for Zack Ryder at the Rumble? Because I have a feeling that's happening. But this match, it's interesting in kind of a couple different ways. I mean, the system. And Eric Young and Macklin just two random main event stars who've been teamed together. I mean, Edwards and Myers have been champions before as a tag team. Um, I don't know what way Impact wants to go with this. I'm being 100% honest. I have no zero clue. Either way, both teams got to take the win or the loss. I think solely for the fact they want to build up EY and Macklin and Eli win. That's my prediction. Following that, we have an interesting one. We have a former WWE champion, now turned Impact Wrestling champion. Most of you know him as Dolph Ziggler. He's now actually wrestling under his real name, Nick Nemeth, going against a guy who was in NXT, challenged for the NXT North American Championship a few times. Is an Impact Wrestling wrestler. Was attacked by JBL in one of his last title chances. He will also be at the Royal Rumble. Say his name and he will appear. I believe in Joe Hendry. Um, hmm. Is this Joe Hendry's last match in Impact? I've already said for two people this is their last show in Impact. Is it three? Or does Joe Henry win the belt and go in between both? Then we have a crossover match between the Impact champion and the NXT champion. Oba versus Joe Henry could be cool. Nick Nemeth versus Oba could be cool. I personally think Joe Henry's earned the chance to call himself champion somewhere. This guy he's been a joke, kind of mid-card comedy wrestler. He's great on the mic, funny as fuck. Just made himself huge, kind of like LA Knight. And WWE has not pulled the trigger on LA Knight. Will Impact be afraid to pull the trigger on Joe Henry? That ovation will be huge if Joe Henry wins the belt. But does Dolph Ziggler go into the Royal Rumble carrying the Impact title? That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Because fans of WWE wanted Dolph to be champion and they never really got that chance because they got robbed of it due to concussion. Vince took the belt off him, said he wasn't reliable. No, Vince, he got hurt because Ryback's an idiot. Um, yeah. I figured this card would be a lot easier to predict the outcomes of matches than it is. Um, ah, I know what I kind of want to see, but should I go with my Booker's instinct or my gut instinct? Sorry, guys, I mean to stick on my tongue there. Um, I'm just gonna go with it. I think Joe Henry wins the belt. A lot longer than I thought it would take to predict this show because I still got to break down what happened on SmackDown, and very good SmackDown. I took a lot of notes this week. A lot of interesting stories and storytelling going into this show. We'll get into it in a second. Sorry, I got a message here, guys, from somebody. No, never mind. Nothing important. Um, but there you go. You have my picks. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments if you so feel to choose so. But like I said, a lot to talk about what happened on SmackDown. I'm just going to quickly graze over some of my notes as we do this. A lot of notes. A lot of notes. I'll say this right now. The ending kind of shocked me the way they did it. I didn't think the person was going to weigh in the way they did, but they did. And I thought another person would get involved. They didn't. All right. SmackDown kicks off. And I didn't realize that I put two and two together right away. Excuse me. But they said three different times they're in San Diego. And then the Booyaka Booyaka 619 kicked. And Rey Mysterio kicks us off. And I'm like, wait, why the hell is Rey? Oh, and then it's like, oh yeah, San Diego. Every single time you see Rey Mysterio WWE, it's remind you of some San Diego. That being said, short and sweet, Rey Mysterio declares for the Royal Rumble. Kevin Owens comes out, interrupts him, tells him he respects him. They end up trash talking each other. We have a match for later on in the evening, Rey Mysterio versus Kevin Owens. And if you have about 15, 20 minutes out of your day, I will break it down further, but I'll say this right now. Go check it out. These are two very good professional wrestlers. Rey Mysterio is goddamn near north of 50, and he's still arguably be one of the best to ever do this. And I told a few people, and I'll say this because I forgot to mention, I didn't really go into detail on my breakdown on Raw. WWE may have their new Latin star in Penta, but I don't think anyone will reach the popularity of being a Latin star that Rey Mysterio ever did or will. Rey Mysterio is one of a kind. Rey Mysterio is a goddamn legend. Penta's awesome, and Penta will be a huge star and he'll be a huge hit for different reasons. And like Dave LaGreca said, if you guys listen to Busted Open Radio, you don't have to understand half of what he said for Penta, sorry, during his interview on Raw, but you felt everything that dude said. And I will say this. I love Penta and I think he's good face or heel, but I don't want face Penta. I want dark Penta, the guy that goes around just breaking people's arms, destroying people, just an absolute psychopath. So sorry, I just went off rack there a bit, but that's my theory on Penta for Raw. Let's go back to SmackDown, guys. All right. After the Rey Mysterio and Kevin Owens interaction, we go backstage to a little bit of teasing, and I don't know if it's one or if it's both. But Naomi and Bianca Belair were kind of the way they were interacting and talking with each other and smiling and talking about Jade is like they're kind of both heel facing, if that makes sense. And teasing that one may turn on the other, or they may just both turn on Jade. I don't know. It's interesting the way they planted these seeds, but there's also a possibility I think it might be one of the person who did this with Jade. We'll get to it when we figure it out. But Naomi and Bianca Belair are facing Nia Jax. Sorry, I botched her name like she botches moves. That's how rattled she has me. I can't even pronounce her name properly. And one of my personal favorites of all times. You guys know that. You know how much I think of this lady and how good I think this lady is. Candice LeRae. I think Candice LeRae's been completely underused in her entire run in WWE. She's the ultimate babyface female wrestler, and WWE just completely fucked that up. I will say this: it was an okay match. All four of those girls are good to go. Three of those four girls are still gonna have chemistry together. As a babyface getting beat down, I don't think there's many people in wrestling that are better at it than Bianca Belair. She's just so good at selling the pearl and the drama of being in danger and being in trouble and getting to that tag. Naomi's a great hot tag. Nia Jax shouldn't be wrestling anymore. And the Candice LeRae's so good at selling that Nia Jax at this leg drop, I don't know if she actually landed on it properly or not. Because, like I said 2 weeks ago, she did her bonsai drop and low blowed Naomi doing it by landing on her vagina. So I don't know if she actually landed full weight on Candice or not, but Candice sold us a lot of the fact we actually thought she was dead. That being said, you obviously knew the outcome of this match before it started. Naomi and Bianca were never going to lose this match. Also, I don't know if there's no commercials of SmackDown anymore on Netflix in Canada, but just kind of fades to black and returns to matches, which I kind of like, but think is also kind of weird. And I will say this: that crowd in San Diego was on fire compared to last week. Maybe that's why I was confused by what SmackDown was last week. Maybe the crowd vibe just didn't feel it. But that San Diego crowd, from the minute it hit to the minute that show ended, absolute fire. Probably one of the best WWE crowd I've seen so far this year. And we further cemented Jacob Fatu as a star, but we'll get to that in a little bit. We had a little bit of a tease here for a stipulation that's going to be added to the ladder match between Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes. And we'll talk more about that later on in the night when we have our third interaction with Nick Aldis and Cody Rhodes. We have a little bit of a promo video letting us know that March 1st will be John Cena's last ever match in Canada, let alone not Canada, just Toronto, because this is the John Cena retirement tour. He's headed to retirement, and I think this is one guy, unlike most professional wrestlers, who say, once I retire, that's it, they're not coming back. I don't think John Cena is coming back. I think this is it. And like I said a couple videos ago, and I'll say it again, put some damn respect on that dude's name. Like, love him or hate him, John Cena made people care about wrestling still. He carried this promotion on its back with so many great feuds with Triple H, Randy Orton, Chris Benoit, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Ryback, goddamn Ryback, the Nexus. Yeah, he unfortunately buried the Nexus, but Edge, his feud with Edge was incredible. Some great matches with Del Rio, Sheamus. Put respect on the man's name. This is the end of John Cena, then God bless you, Cena. No, this isn't if. This is the end of John Cena, so God bless you, Cena. The jorts, the color Fruity Pebbles. He got the best out of The Rock we've seen The Rock since his return to WrestleMania last year. Just, Cena's a treasure. I didn't realize it at first. I was one of those guys that hated Cena, but Cena's a treasure, and everything he did with Make a Wish. All right. Following that, we had Mello versus Big Jimmy. Interesting that that's what they're going to call him with now, Big Jim. Very good match. I liked everything about it. Great story. Kind of fact that these two were just beating the piss out of each other and just telling a great story while they were in the ring together. You could tell WWE didn't want there to be winner or loser in this match. So right when there's about to be a finish, the new bloodline comes out, but it's unhinged unhinged Tamatonga and Jacob Fatu. They beat the piss out of both of them. Sorry, Toddy's getting a upset here. Um, they beat the piss out of them, and if you haven't seen it, go check out Jacob Fatu's promo. I'm pretty sure it's completely unscripted. He takes a shot at San Diego, which is hilarious, and then cuts probably one of the best promos I've heard from anybody in the Bloodline in a long time. I'm pretty sure it might be hinting at the fact that he's actually been the tribal chief, and everyone thinks it's Jacob. I mean, Solo, because if you go back and watch something, he's like, what? He's talking to Tom Malone, Solo in this whole video. He's like, if I ever lose this, you will acknowledge him. But there's no him. And the thing he's talking about that he loses is the Ula follow, and Solo comes out, doesn't really cut a promo, just gets booed out of the building and leaves. And Jacob Fatu just goes nuts. That's all I'm going to say. You have to watch it. And this also, sorry, I forgot to mention, was Jimmy Fatu's first singles match. It's not Bloodline involved in almost 3 years. So Jay might be the better hype man as a wrestler, but I think Jimmy might be the better wrestler, to be honest with you. The more believable. Following that, we got a little bit of a tease for letting us know that later on tonight, for the main event, we're having Tiffany versus Bailey for the women's title. And we got it hinted to us a few different times. Also, during that attack, um, LA Knight comes out, holds his own against the Bloodline 2.0 for a little bit, gets beat down, and Braun Strowman returns, and Braun Strowman's been gone for a few weeks. They're saying that he got attacked by the Bloodline. In reality, Braun Strowman was extremely sick and lost about 40 pounds, he said, and was near death. So good on Braun. And we had this one really cool spot where we had Braun versus Jacob Fatu stared down in the ring and people were just screaming meat. Guess what? In 2 weeks' time, Saturday night main event, we got Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu. I think Jacob Fatu is a squash Braun. Unfortunate. Just looking here. What else happened? That was cool, my notes. We got Murder City Machine Guns versus Los Garza, Angel Garza, and Humberto. Very, very good match. All four of these guys are so very talented. And I knew WWE didn't want a clean finish here once again. So, halfway through the match, we had Pretty Deadly come out in a way inadvertently help Motor City Machine Guns beat Los Garza. Los Garza were about to hit a pin. They had 1, 2, 3. Referees distracted by Pretty Deadly. And Marty City Machine Guns hit their Skull and Bones finishing move. And I guess again are the number one contenders for this never ending feud with DIY. What the fuck happened to the Street Profits? Are they actually injured? Are they just letting their contracts run out? Are they going to be joining AEW as part of the Hurt Syndicate? Um, I have no clue. I'm so confused with what's happening with the Street Profits. I think they are legitimately hurt. I wish them a speedy recovery. They're a fun tag team. That being said, off the Street Profits, we had our second ever in-ring televised match for BFAB. She did a little bit. They talked about how she was getting trained by an Italian Tyson Kidd, and then she just got absolutely destroyed by Piper. I saw this coming. It's kind of funny. Piper came out with Chelsea Green, and for some reason, Meechin didn't come out till the match was over. Not much to talk about in that match. BFAB's getting better every match, but she's still not good enough. That's why she wrestles once every couple of months. Also, speaking about, I forgot to mention this. Next week, we have the Meta Girls, Flash Legend and Jakar Jackson versus Naomi and Bianca at NXT. And if you guys haven't seen it, there's a guy called the Wrestling Classic. He did an interview with Zelina Vega, and Zelina Vega speaks very, very highly of Jakar Jackson. Go check that out. All right, guys. Sorry, guys, I had to pause for a second because there's like those commercials we had during SmackDown tonight. Following that, like I said, we had the crowd on fire. Las Garza. So I'm just going. Oh yes. Unfortunate news. We had a tragic passing of a guy. I don't know if you've seen Major League or anything to do with baseball. The fact this guy's played a couple influential parts back in the day for wrestling, including being choked by Andre the Giant, and also being the main event ring announcer for Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant WrestleMania 3. Mr. Baseball Bob Uecker had passed away just 2 days ago. And if you haven't seen Major League, I'm just gonna go check it out. He was absolutely brilliant in it. Very good ring announcer, very good backstage segments with WWE. My condolences to his family. He will be missed. Um, checking out more notes here that are important. Like I said, Rey Mysterio, Kevin Owens. I'm not going to even talk about it to do justice. These are just two very good professional wrestlers putting on a very, very good high level match. Um, go on Netflix. I keep saying YouTube, Netflix. It's about halfway through the show. Take about 15 minutes out of your day, 15, 20 minutes out of your day, and just watch this instant classic. There's actually one funny spot where Kevin Owens brings Rey Mysterio over to the part where his family, his wife and daughter are sitting, and you can see his wife acting like she's scared that Kevin Owens is absolutely killing Ray, and his daughter's laughing for some reason. For some reason, you can't see her stop laughing. Also, side note: Rey Mysterio's daughter apparently is getting into professional wrestling. Could be interesting. If it's true, she's the very first ever female wrestler. And also, speaking about legendary Latinos that are getting involved in wrestling, Eddie Guerrero's younger daughter is looking for a trainer. I hope she's as good as her dad was. I mean, and I hope she stays away from Vicky because Vicky's already fucked up one daughter. Also, Saturday night main event: Jey Uso versus Gunther for the heavyweight title over on Raw. Um, After the match with Kevin Owens and Kevin Owens and Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio is about to get destroyed. Cody Rhodes saves Rey Mysterio, leads to a backstage segment. We find out at that Saturday night main event there's going to be both people giving up their belts and a mediator to the contract signing for the new stipulation for the contract. Dude, it's in San Antonio, Shawn Michaels. Following that, is talking about how Bayley might be running herself short due to the fact that she was on Raw, went to NXT, got into a battle with Roxanne. So I guess we know Roxanne's first feud when she comes to the main roster. I thought for sure Roxanne's going to get involved in the main event. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Um, we had a backstage statement between DIY and Pretty Deadly. Nothing really to write home about except for the end. Johnny Gargano kicks the shit out of Apollo Crews, who's trying to get DIY's ear to help them, or sorry, Pretty Deadly's ear to help them know that they don't need to follow more DIY. Sorry, I just gotta get my charger. My computer's about to die. Oh, yeah. We're gonna go back to the party, guys. Sure. Okay, sorry guys. I just had to walk away for a second to get a charger for my computer. Yep, Apollo Crews gets attacked by Johnny Gargano backstage at the show. So I'm assuming next week we're gonna be doing Apollo Crews and Johnny Gargano. Um, we had a promo for Charlotte Flair, and if you haven't seen her promo on Instagram, go check it out. Me versus me, incredible. Charlotte can't come back whenever she wants. I don't think Charlotte needs a title anytime soon, and I hope to God it's not Charlotte taking the belt off of either Tiffy or Rhea at WrestleMania. We don't want to see that as wrestling fans. And don't get me wrong, Charlotte's awesome. Charlotte's incredible, but we don't see her champion right now. And then Bayley versus Tiffy. And my God, Tiffy's over. This is Bayley's home state, California, and what a match! And for people that just don't like Bayley, fuck you. Sorry, I don't mean to get like mouthy and angry, but Bayley's so very, very good and so good at psychology in the ring, putting a match together. You can tell she had her fingerprints all over this. And this point, you could see where the young girl was getting confused, and Bayley was leading her through it. Bayley isn't. Bayley does not get the respect she deserves still to this day for how good she actually is, and how smart she is at putting things into matches that are little Easter eggs into certain things. And like I said, halfway through the match with Tiffy, she sees Roxanne at ringside and goes and argues with Roxanne. And then for the rest of that match, you see Roxanne peering over Bayley's shoulder, which kind of led Easter eggs, kind of like when we thought Roman was going to get turned on by Paul Heyman. That Roxanne may get involved and cost Bayley the match. Didn't need to happen. Tiffy's just so very, very good. At one spot, there was even a really cool spot where you see the fireflies all lighted behind Tiffany, and she hits a sick moonsault. Sorry, guys, I got an itchy ear. Um, or not moonsault, sorry, swanton bomb. She's just so uber athletic and so good and picks up the sport so quick for how young she is. The move, like I've said for a long time, since the first time I saw this girl in NXT when she was starting to get going to now, improve leaps and bounds. The stars, the limits for this girl. If she wants to go be a movie star, let her be a movie star. But I hope to God we see her wrestling for a long time to come. She's just everything you need to have. She has it. She can talk. She's athletic as fuck. She's absolutely drop dead gorgeous. You can love to hate her, but the only thing I don't get right now is that she should be a heel or a face. I don't get her gimmick as a character. Like most people that steal the title like that, the way she did, are people that fans started to like, and then he's, I don't know. I'm confused on her character. Mm, But as a wrestler, you can't be confused how good this girl is. and I hope they keep the title on her for a while. She deserves a long run. Anyways, long story short, I thought Roxanne was getting involved. Does not get involved, and Tiffy beats Bailey clean in the middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3 for the very first time ever. So now I think Bailey should be kept away from that women's title for a while. We should get some new challengers, but here's the thing on SmackDown: I don't know who you have. That's unfortunately why Charlotte has to be involved. And I just realized that now. Or bring back Oscar, but no, that makes no sense. Oscar's gonna be part of Damage Control. Unless you bring Brett Damage Control to SmackDown on that transfer portal. Excuse me, guys. But like I said, overall, very, very good SmackDown. Maybe it's the fact the crowd was just on fire all night long, or the Easter eggs they put all over the show. But just absolutely brilliant from the storytelling to the matches to the sort of little hints I laid out throughout the show. I know it's not the go home show because there's one more to go, but this is, yeah, 2 weeks to go to the Wrestle Royal Rumble, 1 week to go till the main event. But I like how and this is not once again taking shots at other promotions, AEW or Impact, but WWE just knows how to plot a story, how to plot a plot a show, put the pieces together, give you little teases of this and that, and then pull you in and pull you back out. There's nobody better at it than WWE, and Vince was good at it. He just lost touch with reality, and Triple H is very, very, very good at it. All right, guys. Um, there's one more thing I want to touch on, and um, this one's kind of a touchy subject. I kind of glanced by it the first week when Raw was on Netflix because I didn't want to acknowledge it. So I'm not gonna lie. Um, I was a. Ooh, this is tough to say because he's the reason I started watching wrestling when I was a little kid. I was a. I was a Hulkamaniac growing up. Like if you listen to the lyrics, everything about what Hulk Hogan said sucked you in. He was so good at being able to talk. He put on great shows. If you actually watch Hogan back in the day compared to Hogan like 20 years later, he could actually wrestle and do things. He was actually a talented, very good big man for the time. He could do more than three moves before he actually kept hurting himself. And he's destroyed his back and his body for the business. As a performer, there's not anything you would ever do to take away from what Hulk Hogan's done for wrestling and how he made it relevant. And without Hulk Hogan, we'd not be sitting here and I would not be talking about professional wrestling 30 plus years after I started watching it. It would have been dead a long time ago, dead in the water. There would no such thing as Impact Wrestling. There'd be no such thing as AEW. There'd be no such thing as Ring of Honor. There'd be no such thing as New Japan Wrestling. There'd be no such thing as Ohio Valley Wrestling. There'd be no such thing as, you name it, Dragon Gate, any of this, without Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan made wrestling what it is. Not just WWE, he made wrestling. Like NWA was there before Hogan, but you wouldn't be able to watch it on TV because NWA, unless you're in that region, was not televised. Didn't go global, didn't go national. WCW wouldn't have existed to have the Monday Night Wars because there'd be no WCW because I don't know if you guys watched WCW before Hogan and Savage and those guys got there, but it was unbearably bad and unwatchable. And if you haven't done what I'm talking about, read the books, watch the promos, watch the videos, just watch the product. It is very, very, very bad. Very bad. Like, I'm not gonna even sugarcoat it. It was bad. And then you get to the person. And I think Iron Sheik said it personally the best, and I think everyone was joking and they didn't realize what they actually meant. They thought he was just a crazy old Iranian dude who just hated Hogan for hating Hogan for taking the belt. But Hulk Hogan is a piece of shit as a human being. It has nothing to do with him being a Donald Trump supporter. I could care less. I'm not a political person. I don't care about politics nor believe anything political. You could vote for Satan himself. I couldn't care. I'm a Catholic person. I know there's one thing I believe in. That's I will see what I got to see when it's time. Um, but as a human being, there's something called respect and morals and dignity and being kind to your fellow human. None of which Hulk Hogan has. Terry Bollea, whatever you want to call him. And that's where we get to that thing on Monday Night Raw where people are saying he got booed because of where he was and he's a Trumper. No, he got booed because he's a shitty human being. He's a racist. He's a homophobe. He's a transphobe. He just doesn't get it. He's out of touch with reality. I don't understand why WWE still has him. Like, they can't have this guy on TV anymore. They can't promote anything to do with Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan should be near their product, such as Logan Paul should be near their product. There's certain people. And this is where I get into the thing with Tessa Blanchard. People want to talk shit about Tessa Blanchard. There's no actual proof besides what people are saying. There's recorded proof about what Hulk Hogan has done and said. He's they're like, yes, he got blackmailed into it and he got tricked by friends, but there's still the proof. It's out there. You've heard what he said. You've seen what he said. He's bailed his son out of a few DUIs. There's videos of it. There's so many things to not defend this guy, and you can't. And I understand why some of it is, but the things he says and he does outside of it just no, it has to end. We can't. He needs to go away. Unfortunately, like I said, thank you for what you've done for professional wrestling as Hulk Hogan. But now as Terry Bollea, Hulk Hogan, in this generation, you're hurting it. That's what people are going to realize and associate with wrestling and wrestling fans. This guy, this piece of shit, this guy who is just so. I don't know if you. It is, yeah, I'm going to say it. I was going to say, I don't know if the word evil is correct, but the word evil is correct. He's an evil human being. He's a very self-centered, self-serving, self-driven human. I've read his book. I've heard biographies on him. I've heard podcasts on him. I've heard other wrestlers talk about him. This guy's just not a good dude. All he ever cared about was himself. He picked certain people he'd have around him, but he only had him around, hold them around him because they knew they wouldn't be able to outshine him. The likes of the British Beefcake, the likes of the Nasty Boys, the likes of a few others, Big Boss Man. Those guys were his close personal friends because he knew they weren't going to be about shining him a drum in wrestling because people didn't care about him like they did Hogan. There's even a story how he was so jealous and hate-filled of the Macho Man when people found out how good of a baseball player the Macho Man was. He went and made a story about how he was the best pitcher in California. He had a sub one ERA, and I'm not a baseball fan. He single-handedly won the Little League World Series. He hit home runs in every single game, at least 5 or 6. He caught every out. Some guys like Hogan, we can look up stats. None of this ever happened. You were an average baseball player who didn't play in the Little League World Series. This guy just lives in a delusional world. He's a. I don't know if you've heard the racist rants, but you should go and listen to them. As you can see by my eyes, like, listen to the lyrics of a song. I am a real American. I fight for the rights of every man. No, you don't. No, you don't. The lyrics are no longer fitting to the human being. Sorry, guys, my phone's kind of going off here. Like, as a wrestling fan, it hurts me to do this and put this dude on blast the way I am right now. Because he's been around for over 40 years. I've been watching wrestling for 40 years. He was a huge part of my childhood growing up as a wrestling fan. Say your prayers, do your vitamins, all that shit. It's all fake. This guy just absolutely every way possible cheated. If you actually go back and watch the documentary with Vince McMahon and listen to the things he said, you'll actually realize what a scumbag he truly and actually is. I don't know if I can say any more without actually truly. Holy, I, I don't know. I don't know what I can say. I'm just getting upset thinking about this, and there will always be Hogan defenders, and I could have been, and I would have been, but I can't be anymore. There's no sweeping under the rug what this guy said, done, been a part of, been about, and it's time. It's time. Wrestling has to cut ties with Hogan. WWE has to cut ties with Hogan. Promoters have to cut ties with Hogan. They gotta somehow get out of that real American beer deal they're in. I thought Hunter was a smarter person than he was. Maybe he's at certain times. Maybe he doesn't see it, or he just sees money, or because he's part of the UFC brand now, Dana White only sees money, doesn't give a shit about the fact of what a human being Hulk Hogan is. Um, but yeah, I think it's time. It's time. It's time. It's Vader time. Time. Just kidding. It's just time for us to not see Hulk Hogan again, ever, until we hear the unfortunate news and they gotta pay the tribute to him. I mean, the guy's he made wrestling what it was, but the time has passed him by. And if these truly are his beliefs, which they actually are, all of them, you gotta leave. You gotta go away. You gotta understand. You can't be forgiven this time. I know he's done interviews and he thinks he's done no wrong, but you, yeah, fuck you. I'm just gonna leave it on that. As a little kid who grew up watching you and idolizing you, realizing that a person I wouldn't say if you call a hero, but a guy that yeah, you idolize. Hell, I have a Hulkamania workout shirt. I'm not gonna lie, I won't sugarcoat it. I used to work out for Hogan's theme song. That's what I thought of Hulk Hogan. I used to do the leg drop on people because that's what I thought of Hulk Hogan. He made something I loved cool. And he made it cool for 20 years because he did it for 20 years in the ring, if not longer. Oh, that was hard. But on that note, you guys, I'm gonna have to say goodnight. And I'm gonna tell you guys, you gotta check out this SmackDown. It's probably the best SmackDown you've seen in a long time. Just very good hidden details and story time and story and Easter eggs and kind of hints where maybe certain people from NXT may be going when they actually get up to the main roster. I'm gonna say this: I can't wait for that Roxanne and Bailey feud once it's either NXT or a main roster or a little bit of both or the Rumble. But this SmackDown was just so story driven. Um, watch Genesis this Sunday, and everyone should probably boycott everything Hulk Hogan from this point going forward because it's just time to say goodbye. Just like it's time to say goodbye to Ric Flair, but for Ric Flair, it's for a completely different reason. But on that note, like I said, I'll talk to you guys in a few days and enjoy this weekend's